her beauty, her charm.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Marvel lore journey. Today it's finally time to learn about probably one of the main guys from Marvel who we've been kind of skimming around this entire time. We should definitely get to this video now, which is Spider-Man. I know that Spider-Man is, your favorite hero. You've told me quite a few facts. Probably the most that I've learned about Spider-Man was when we were watching the Into the Spider-Verse movies. And then I was asking you a ton of questions here and there, and you were telling me about the different comics and whatnot. Something new that I learned was that Johnny and Peter were actually pretty good friends during the Fantastic Four video. Outside of that...
I thought most of my Fantastic Four knowledge came from reading Spider-Man.
Dare I say Spider-Man is probably the hero that I know of the most simply because of how widespread his influence is. Like, I've seen all the movies, the Spider-Man movies, and it's kind of impossible to be on the internet and not learn a thing or two about him.
The most popular heroes in Marvel is something that changes, obviously, throughout the history. Pre-MCU, it was a very different, top hero roster, right?
Yeah.
You had the Fantastic Four way up there. Even characters like Ghost Rider or Daredevil were much higher. Hulk was pretty much always been pretty popular. And then the MCU came around, and characters like Iron Man and Captain America, who were never super popular before, jumped up super high on that list.
Nice.
And it's all been a pretty big roller coaster. But the one who's been pretty consistently on top forever has been Spider-Man, which is funny because it's a character that Stan Lee created, and actually there was a lot of feedback to him from the Marvel writers, Marvel headquarters, whoever was in charge of giving feedback at the time. It was like, are you sure it's a good idea to make a hero about spiders? People hate spiders. And Stanley's like, and they tried it, and lo and behold, as someone who hates spiders, it works.
Yeah, I could get that. There's definitely going to be some concern considering it's a very popular fear for many, many people, including you. But the thing that Spider-Man represents is much more than just, the insect.
It's funny, though. Between Spider-Man and Kuma Canonica, I get cursed by my algorithm quite a bit, because if I'm looking at one or the other too often, YouTube
just a
or
bunch
Google
of spider videos.
Like, you like spiders, don't you? And I'm like, no, I don't. Please take them away.
But what I do know is that there's still a ton more to learn about Spider-Man when it comes to the comics, because he has a very long history with Marvel. And a lot of clone stuff that I had asked a few questions, but that was going to be really tough to get into, so maybe we'll delve into it into this video. I don't know.
Oh, we
we'll
will.
see.
Don't worry. We will.
Oh, boy.
It's a pretty big section of the comics for him, unfortunately.
But yeah, dudes, as per usual, if you enjoy reaction content like we do, please make sure to go support the original video before watching this reaction. Link is at the very top of the description, like always. Alright, with that out of the way, let's get right to it.
I have seen this video before, but it was a long time ago, so I'm excited to watch it again.
Ever wanted to learn the entire history of Spider-Man from the comics, but you're either too poor, can't be arsed to read the wiki, or just hate Watch Mojo with your very soul? To see the journey from a young, inexperienced...
Ooh.
I haven't heard the name Watch Mojo in a while.
Same here. The last time I ever saw anything related to Watch Mojo was Maximilian reacting to a Watch Mojo top 10 fighting games list or something like that, and commenting about it, because it was quite fascinating seeing what casuals thought of the fighting game scene and whatnot. Don't know what they're doing nowadays.
Interesting thing about Watch Mojo, it's just from someone who knows nothing about this. What do you think? And it's always an interesting take.
Very much so, yeah. I don't know if they're still going. I'm sure they are. They've just never shown up on my timeline anymore, so.
Me either.
Spider-Man to a battle-hardened superhero veteran, capable of leading the Avengers into battle. If I forget anything, if I leave out your favorite story of Spider-Kid from the 80s or something, feel free to tell me in the comments. First off, no one likes their time being wasted. I could stretch this out and get
so many alternate versions of Spider-Man too.
I'm sure. Given how popular Spider-Man turned out to be, they'd probably try to market it in many different ways for many different groups, potentially bring in more people. Yeah, I understand.
billion in ad revenue, but we all know Spider-Man's origin story. There's no point going over it in tremendous detail. Peter Parker gets bit by a spider, his uncle gets bit by a bullet. With great power
Damn.
comes great responsibility. We've seen it a million.
Why didn't Uncle Ben become Bullet Man then? Damn.
It wasn't a radioactive bullet.
No, it's always a radioactive one, isn't it? Wait, isn't it? It's literally like described as a radioactive spider, right? Originally?
I think so, yeah. I'm pretty sure.
Of course. Everything's radioactive.
Times. However, a lot of people think that it was Uncle Ben who said that famous line, whereas in the original comic, Uncle Ben shows up for like 2 panels, dies off screen, and Peter learns his lesson from a text box. Little does Peter know, he has seen.
What? That damn. That feels like a really big miss, considering like the emotional weight it could have had if Uncle Ben was the one who said it.
Yeah, I think in the comics, it was a lot more push through kind of the origin stuff so you can actually get into the hero stuff. I think the movie definitely took a lot more time to set that up. As someone who likes origin stories, I know that's kind of weirdly controversial nowadays. People are so done with origin stories. I always love a good origin story. I can watch the same origin story 100 times and I'll still enjoy it. But yeah, when the first Spider-Man movie came out, the Sam Raimi movies, it definitely did a lot to set up Pete, like, I guess, grounding him a lot. And I think that's part of the reason those movies did so well, at least the first and second one, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, the third one gave us the bully dance, so it was pretty hype, not gonna lie.
It is iconic, that's for sure.
But yeah, I can somewhat understand it from a different kind of perspective, where a lot of the lore that I've delved into, like say, I can immediately think of something like Kirby, right? Where the idea is very simplistic. You have a general scope of where you want the character to go, but not a whole lot of to do in the very beginning because you're not really sure if it's going to work out or not. And then somebody else comes along and then maybe expands upon that, and then it becomes like it's this whole massive thing later on, which Spider-Man certainly has become. I think that's just how stories begin originally. Just a cool idea.
Yeah.
And then
I mean,
we tack
it's
on more
hard
to
to
it.
just sit down and write a masterpiece on the first page, right?
Yeah, for sure.
When you have never written this character before, you don't have all that history yet. You're starting from the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
But I'm not trying to undersell the original comic, right? It does a lot really, really well. It sets things up really well. But yeah.
Crawling out his window by the girl next door, Mary Jane Watson, making her the first ever person to discover Spider-Man's identity. This origin story was meant to be a one-off deal, but due to the popularity of the character, he was soon given his own main series. The Amazing Spider-Man followed the daily double life of Peter Parker as he balanced his high school studies with his secret alter ego. He would be constantly picked on by the people at school, especially by Flash Thompson, who, despite being a relentless bully, would become Spider-Man's #1 fan. He would defend his hero no matter what anyone said about him.
What was
I always love that dynamic though. That's so funny to me.
Oh yeah, bullying you at one point, but also being a fan of your superhero version. Actually, they had this cop character in the Batman as well, who was like a really big fan of Bruce Wayne, but hated Batman. It was hilarious. Yeah, it's a great dynamic. And I recall learning that Flash Thompson was like, what, Agent Venom, right? At some point? Was it?
Yeah, he does eventually. He gets into Venom and becomes a hero.
I think we learned about that in passing in the cosmology video. And it's like, wait a minute, what? The guy who bullies Spider-Man? Damn. Moving up in the world.
As you kind of progress in the Spider-Man comics, Flash gets, especially out of their high school years, Flash develops a lot more. But
You're telling me people change over time? Impossible.
What? I know. Crazy.
Even making his own Spider-Man fan club, completely oblivious that the person he's worshipping is the same one he tries to beat up every day. After a long day of fighting hardened criminals, Peter would come home to Aunt May, who thought he was just this poor little delicate boy who wouldn't harm a fly. And while Aunt May was just this frail old lady who could be taken out by a paper airplane, underneath she was a very strong-spirited fighter who had a lot of wisdom for her nephew. Peter's heroics as Spider-Man would be publicly shamed.
Very old.
Very old. It's kind of shocking considering the
as an aunt for a high schooler.
Right?
Is very old.
That's more of like a grandmother. Much more so, yeah. But it's kind of a bit of a shock seeing like MCU anime versus this anime, right?
It was definitely a departure from classic.
Yeah,
I don't think
100%.
it's bad, honestly. I guess it makes sense to be a little younger.
Makes sense, yeah.
But yeah,
I do get the like old couple appeal though, because it kind of gives you that super homey feeling to it. And it's really grounding
Yeah.
for Peter's character.
by J. Jonah Jameson, whose blind hatred for Spider-Man was really just a cover-up for his own self-doubt. As head of the Spider-Man fan club, Flash would speak out against Jameson's biased reporting, and even tries to fight him one time. Peter would take pictures of himself
Damn.
as Spider-Man and sell them to Jameson, thus allowing Peter to pay for Aunt May's rent. It's also depressing as hell seeing how a single paycheck is enough for him to pay an entire year's worth of rent. While at Jameson's office, Peter meets his secretary, Betty Brandt. The two are very fond of each other and eventually start dating. However, a spanner is thrown into the works when her brother is brutally murdered and she blames Spider-Man for his death. Therefore, Peter can never reveal his identity out of fear that she'll despise him. To make things even worse, Liz Allen, who was previously one of the people who bullied Peter, does a complete 180 and now will stop at nothing until he's wrapped around her finger. Peter doesn't really give a shit, but Betty gets super jealous and the relationship soon falls apart. After they break up,
Man, we're already seeing that like Fantastic Four dynamic that we had learned about of these messy characters, these imperfect characters, and a lot of the drama that they get into, like real world drama that people can somewhat relate to.
yeah.
Aunt May's like, "Oh, don't worry, Peter, I know a beautiful girl. Her name is Mary Jane Watson." But Peter's too busy with Spider-Man stuff, and so he declines the offer. There's something very charming about Peter's early career as Spider-Man. It's light, it's fun, and very nostalgic reading it back now. Seeing this young boy meet all of these iconic characters for the first time. These people who will go on to impact his life in so many ways, and he has no idea of it yet. He's dreaming of being a scientist, not knowing that one day that will come true. We get to see Peter make new friends, fall in love for the first time, and watch as he messes it all up. We see the first appearances of all his classic villains, such as Dr. Octopus, Sandman, Electro, and Kraven the Hunter. Such tragic characters as
Spider-Man's own worst enemies himself.
Well, that's very
Not
true
for
for
trying,
many
though.
people. Yeah.
Yeah.
And poor Kraven, man. The movie for Kraven was it was a thing that existed.
I didn't watch it.
Good.
Didn't bother.
Good. Honestly, the only one worth watching out of that trio was probably More Bing Time. Just for the meme.
Just for the meme. I didn't watch any of them. The only one I've seen is the first Venom. I haven't even watched the others.
Okay, Venom was actually fun though. It wasn't great, but it was funny.
I had fun with it, yeah.
Yeah.
So silly.
Dr. Kirk Connors, who accidentally turns himself into a lizard and tries to eat Spider-Man.
Oh my god. Wait, he actually kind of looks like his movie version a little bit in this original comic. Yeah, the movie version was not great. Not gonna lie.
In The Amazing Spider-Man, I liked how they did Connors and everything, and I really enjoyed that entire, I enjoyed that whole movie, actually. But the face choices for just the look of him,
Yeah.
not my favorite.
It was certainly a decision that was made. Mhm.
Yeah.
Also, can
Not
you
my
like,
least favorite of all of the live action villains, but definitely not my favorite.
so he's become a lizard man. Does that mean he can just talk to the crocodiles and have them as his henchmen? Is that what's happening here?
I don't remember.
That's pretty hype. Hell yeah, dude.
Only to be cured and
I do
return
like
to his loving family. Or the Scorpion, who Jameson helped create to try and capture Spider-Man, only to
This I learned about when we were playing the Insomniac Spider-Man games. Also, listening to JJJ talk over his podcast was quite entertaining.
Yeah.
Looking forward to hearing more of
It
that.
makes sense, JJJ would become a podcaster.
be driven insane and turn to a life of crime. There's also the mysterious Green Goblin, whose main goal is just to...
Is Green Goblin actually a goblin? Is his skin actually green, or is he wearing armor? I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it was a mask in the original run.
Huh.
It's been a long time since I read this.
I don't recall from the movies what the explanation was, whether there was like some sort of skin disease that was happening, or it was just armor, or just a second personality. It was a little unclear with child me just watching cool superhero stuff.
Yeah, the serum affected his head. It changed him physically, like made him stronger and shit, like most super
Like a
serum
super
stuff.
soldier
But
kind of thing, yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was all costume originally. There are other versions of him later, especially like the Ultimate Green Goblin, which is this big hulking monster.
He just becomes a giant monster, yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure originally it was all costume.
That's right. We saw that in the Into the Spider-Verse, the very first movie, right? Where he was fighting him in the... Yeah. Okay, and that was the monster version of him. I was like, whoa, that's Green Goblin? That's not my Green Goblin.
Fuck with Spider-Man. Every time Spider-Man would defeat him, he'd go back to his secret lair and it'd be like, oh, who is he? Guess who it's gonna be? And then they just don't tell you. It's also interesting to see how little a role Uncle Ben plays in these early issues. His death serves more of an inconvenience to Peter than anything, and after being briefly mentioned in issue 1, he's not even brought up again for the next 30-odd issues. Peter instead looks up to his fellow heroes, such as the Avengers or the Fantastic Four. Sure, he might insult them and get into the odd fight now and again, but deep down he desperately wants to have their confidence, their respect.
Oh yeah, this was when Peter broke into the Baxter building and then fought them to prove his worth. That was certainly an approach.
His first fight with Dr. Octopus, Peter gets completely annihilated and feels really ashamed about his defeat. He's ready to just give everything up until the Human Torch delivers a powerful speech about resilience and beating the odds no matter what. Peter's then in...
Johnny? What? Hello? Huh.
Inspired to confront Dr. Octopus again and emerges triumphant. Peter's heroic actions come from him just wanting to be better, rather than from a burden of guilt. These big superhero teams represent where he's trying to get to, both as a hero and as a person. A bunch of Peter's villains come together to form the Sinister Six, but they're so far up their own asses that they fight him one-on-one instead of as a team. And he wipes the floor with them. Determined to get rid of Spider-Man for good, Jameson commissions a killer robot to hunt him down and capture him.
That robot design is so hilarious. I think I'd die of laughter if he comes up to me in this robot suit or whatever. It's just... God.
Lists the roboticist Spencer Smythe to build it, calling it the Spider Slayer. Peter ultimately outsmarts them by making a puppet of himself and tricking them into capturing the puppet. Eventually, Peter graduates from high school, getting a science scholarship at Empire State University. Unfortunately for Peter, Flash is getting a sports scholarship to the same place, so he'll not be getting rid of him anytime soon. At university, Peter meets some new faces, such as his new classmates, Harry Osborn and Gwen Stacy. Just as Peter's getting used to this new stage in his life, Aunt May falls hideously ill and is rushed to the hospital. This completely throws Peter off, and he's so busy focusing on Aunt May's health that all his new classmates think he's some sort of massive antisocial prick. It doesn't help that Flash Thompson is there to talk shit about him, reaffirming everything that Harry and Gwen already think of him.
Wait, Gwen also hates him? No! God damn it.
I don't know so much hated him as they just kinda didn't have any interaction. He was kinda just doing his own thing. She's like, yeah, I guess he doesn't want to be with us.
It's really tough. I get it. Because, while I'm not a superhero, I was kind of in that position when I was at uni. It's because,
That's how I was. I didn't really talk to anyone.
I just didn't have the time to, because I did uni at the same time I was doing high school. So I finished that in 3 years with high school. And there was no time. When people went out to eat, to celebrate stuff, I couldn't go. When they went on retreats with the club, I just couldn't go. So, yeah. I feel you, Peter.
Yeah, I was the same way. I did my associates my junior and senior year of high school.
Doctors are like, listen mate, your aunt's probably fucking dead. So Peter seeks help from Dr. Curtis Connors, aka the Lizard, who tells him of this special serum that can save Aunt May, and it's so unbelievably rare that there's like one in existence. Peter pawns off all his valuables to pay for it. However, Dr. Octopus conveniently needs the same serum for his own research, and hijacks the shipment before it arrives. Peter tracks down Doc Ock to his underwater base, and manages to steal back the serum that Aunt May needs. But it doesn't matter. because during their fight, the base's structure is so significantly damaged that it collapses on top of them. It's here that we get one of the most iconic Spider-Man moments of all time, where Peter is trapped under the machinery, exhausted and alone,
The movies
moments
have
away
tried to
from drowning.
replicate this too.
Oh, the Sam Raimi movies with the building collapsing in on them. I think they were at like a
We
pier or
get a
something.
really good one from in the MCU Spider-Man too. I actually really liked it. I think the third Spider-Man movie in the MCU has flaws, and it's a lot of fan service. But the scene of him under the rubble, I thought was like flawless. I really enjoyed it.
I see. Hey, I don't remember that one too well, unfortunately. But this also feels like a very classic shot for Spider-Man. Like, he's always down on his luck. He's always got something really heavy just smacked on top of him during his Dark Night of the Soul moment.
It's a moment for Spider-Man of having pretty much the weight of all that responsibility literally on his back and him overcoming that. So it's just metaphorically and visually a really good shot for him. So it makes sense that people want to use that.
It's quite literally his life. Like, this is his entire life. Just a kid who's trying to do his best, but he's got the weight of the entire world on his shoulders because he has great power. And with that comes great responsibility. Damn.
Knowing that Aunt May will die if she doesn't get the serum, and fueled by the memory of Uncle Ben, Peter defies all odds through sheer willpower alone, finding the strength to lift an impossible weight and free him from the base's ruins. It's a moment that fully embodies one of Spider-Man's most powerful abilities, his will to always get back up. Peter rushes back to the hospital with the serum and saves Aunt May's life. He's of course relieved, but now has to go back to his university where everyone hates him. Everyone, that is, except Gwen Stacy, who's determined that Peter isn't all bad and maybe just misunderstood.
Okay.
At this moment in time, Peter is not interested in Gwen because he's still hung up over Betty, who's now dating a guy called Ned. Yes, that Ned. And she might even be getting married to him. Oh.
Yo, let's go, Ned! Hell yeah! Get it!
But Peter, don't you want to meet Mary Jane Watson? She's a beautiful young lass.
That has no correlation to the comic.
Let me dream, okay?
unless the MCU does some wild shit and like Ned ends up becoming a hobgoblin later or something crazy.
What?
Then I'll take it back.
Oh god, no, Ned, not comic Ned, no. Oh man. But it's really funny that, like, she keeps on saying, hey, there's this girl next door, Mary Jane Watson. Huh?
Yeah.
No.
Like her.
No, Auntie.
To be fair, if your parental figure was like, hey, I know this cute girl, you should really hook up with her.
You're going to roll your eyes.
Probably be like, nah, come on.
Yeah, 100%. Unless if she's actually cute and you do like her, then, yeah. That was a good suggestion. But more often than not, that's not the case, unfortunately.
Having not met her, you're just going to be like, come on, I don't need to be set up by my mom.
Mom! It's not cool, Mom!
I'm going through my edgy, all women are the same phase. At the same time, we get the first appearance of Norman Osborn, who, at this point, everyone knows he's the Green Goblin. Norman hatches a plan to find out Spider-Man's identity, and so he just follows him home, and attacks him out in the open for anyone to see. With the element of surprise, he's able to defeat Peter and take him back to his evil lair. After a villainous speech about how he's going to put Peter in a cheese grater and make his life misery, Peter manages to get free and the two battle it out. If the Goblin escapes, he could go for Aunt May, he could go for Betty. Everything is at risk. And so Peter doesn't hold back. He beats him to near death, covers him in a bunch of deadly chemicals, and accidentally sets him on fire. Still overpowered by doing the right thing, Peter gets Norman to safety. He discovers that the chemicals have messed with Norman's mind, and that he doesn't remember who Peter is, or that he's the Green Goblin. Very convenient, but Peter hands him over to the authorities, saying that Norman is innocent, and actually helped him take down the Green Goblin. Norman is admitted to hospital, and Peter comforts Harry over what happened to his father, an act that brings them closer together and sets them down a path of friendship. Peter begins to heal his reputation at university and finds himself attracted to Gwen. He's about to make a move when, Peter, Mary Jane is here! And in another iconic Spider-Man moment, Peter meets Mary Jane for the first time. He's instantly taken aback. Her beauty, her charm.
Why did you have to use that panel. No. I need to go look and see it 1 second. Her beauty.
I'm just going in the wrong direction.
Beautiful.
Her charm, her carefree attitude. Peter's like, alright Gwen, respectfully, you can fuck off, and instantly starts
No,
dating Mary
Gwen.
Jane. It's not really like an exclusive thing, so Peter is still going for Gwen. The college era of
Wait,
Spider-Man
what?
is one of my favourites.
What? Peter! God damn! Did Peter learn this from Johnny?
Maybe.
Makes sense.
And is equally as nostalgic as his high school days. It took what worked from the previous era and developed it further, resulting in some of the most iconic characters that we all know today. And while old villains were expanded upon, we were introduced to some new ones, such as the Rhino, the Shocker, and the Kingpin.
Old comic book Rhino was not very intimidating, was he?
A lot of Rhino isn't very intimidating.
Poor guy.
And commissioned Spencer Smythe to create yet another Spider Slayer, which works out just as well as the last one. As time went on, Peter's friend group solidified a bit more, with Mary Jane joining the group, and Flash slowly losing the bully persona. Peter finally moved out of Aunt May's house and started sharing a fancy new apartment with Harry. Peter also grew closer with Gwen, and the two became more romantically involved. But once again, Spider-Man got in the way when, during a fight with Dr. Octopus, Peter suffers complete amnesia and takes days to regain his memory. During this time, he doesn't know his real name or where he lives, and so his absence severely...
My god, the amnesia ray. A classic, really. Love these like cheesy excuses to get new plot threads in, but it helps build character, I suppose. So whatever works.
I was gonna say, sometimes they can be good, sometimes they can be horrible. It's just, you gotta read it so you never know what you're gonna get.
The both of us love I, the Somnium Files, but like we can both admit readily that they use the amnesia plot way too much when it comes to Date. The poor guy gets knocked on the head so many times he doesn't even remember what his own name is half the time.
That's why we gotta save Dante.
But why can't he sleep? I don't know.
Worries his friends and family. Peter goes to the police department for help, where he meets Gwen's dad, Captain George Stacy. You see, Captain Stacy has been studying Spider-Man during his retirement, and has come to the conclusion that he's an all-round pretty good guy. So when the other officers have doubts about Spider-Man, Captain Stacy comes to his defense and convinces the others to help him. Meanwhile, Harry's...
Actually, I think that's how it happened too in the Amazing Spider-Man movies. Like, well, no, he didn't know who it was, but when he discovered it, he was like, leave Gwen out of this, I believe, something like that. Mm-hmm. And then he had to promise not to date Gwen anymore.
I actually really liked the first Amazing Spider-Man movie. I thought it was a really good movie.
Yeah, it was pretty solid.
Obviously, with every Spider-Man movie, it had its flaws, but...
just like Spider-Man.
Looking through Peter's room to find clues of his whereabouts, and discovers some of his Spider-Man equipment. This leads Harry to put two and two together and come to the realization that Spider-Man kidnapped Peter Parker! Not exactly Sherlock Holmes, are you? Instantly, word breaks out that Spider-Man has in fact kidnapped Peter Parker while he's in the police department. And they're like,
bruh.
Did you kidnap Peter Parker? No. Just then, Gwen rushes in and demands to know where Peter is. Spider-Man's still suffering from amnesia, so he's like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, and escapes before things can escalate. Eventually, Peter gets his memory back through water or something, and returns home to his friends and family. Of course, he needs to think of an excuse, and so the best he can come up with is that Spider-Man kidnapped me, but, you know, he's actually a pretty good guy. Well, that checks out. Captain Stacy takes Peter
Okay, the easiest thing was like, my life was in danger and Spider-Man kidnapped me to protect me. And that's it. Easy. Well, don't know how to explain the life in danger thing, but you know, Spider-Man knows the details. Ask him.
To see Gwen, who's over the moon to see him. However, while she's helplessly in love with Peter, she now absolutely detests Spider-Man. Captain Stacy became a recurring character, who was very supportive of his daughter's relationship and was someone that Peter could confide in. This all changed during yet again another battle with Dr. Octopus. During their fight on top of a building, a crowd builds up on the ground below. Captain Stacy arrives at the scene, urging the civilians to get to safety, but it's no use.
Wait.
things take a turn for the worse when Doc Ock knocks into a abnormal...
No! I've seen Into the Spider-Verse. I know what happens now! Not Gwen's dad! Fuck! It's a canonical event. It's a canon event. It can't be avoided.
Normally large chimney, sending a mountain of debris hurtling towards a small child. While everyone else runs away, Captain Stacy lunges towards the boy, sacrificing himself to save him. In his last moments, Stacy reveals that he had figured out Peter's identity and tells him to be there for Gwen when he's gone. Spider-Man is blamed for Captain Stacy's death, because of course he is, with Jameson using it as an opportunity to sway the public against them. And if Gwen hated Spider-Man before, now it's like, on sight. If there was ever any hope of Peter telling her the truth, it's gone, further driving a massive rift between them. And
I just find it so hilarious. The moment Spider-Man shows up in front of Gwen, she just pulls out the blicky and just starts blasting.
No.
You killed my father!
So begins a series of extremely depressing issues where Gwen moves to England and Peter thinks he's lost her forever. Harry finds himself caught up in a...
She moves to England. I've lost her. I've lost everything.
To be fair, back then, we didn't have like the internet the way we do now, so you couldn't just like hang out with her still.
Good point. Yeah, that was like a legitimate consideration, especially if you're going to go overseas for like a job or something. That was usually like the end of a relationship.
Drug ring and overdoses a bunch of times. The entire city is now strongly against Spider-Man, abusing him at every chance they get, and every issue ends up with Peter crying. But among the darkness, there is lightness. During her time in England, Gwen has time to reflect on her father's death, realizing that her hatred of Spider-Man got in the way of her relationship with Peter, and that she does truly love him. She comes home to New York, and the two of them are now happier than ever. They go on a romantic vacation.
I love that panel. Who says we never give Spidey a happy ending? ? Sure. Sure, guys.
To the Savage Land, which goes as well as it sounds. Jameson creates yet another Spider Slayer. Peter even tries to remove his powers to spend more time with Gwen, but in doing so accidentally grows an extra
What the fuck? Peter became a Ben 10 alien. What is happening?
6 arms.
4 arms. Once again, he goes to Kurt Connors for help. Morbius gets in the way, fucks the whole thing up, and the lizard...
Yo, it's my guy Morbius, let's go! Oh god. I hope that there's like an in-depth lore video on Morbius. I'd watch that. I know he's kind of like a side character. It's not like that pivotal, at least to what we're trying to learn here.
I bet there is, considering the movie.
Man, I would love to learn more about this guy, yeah.
He's an interesting character. At the very least, I think Sir Superhero has one on Marvel Vampires. Not that Morbius is actually a vampire, though.
It might cover him. We'll see.
Yeah, who knows?
Because, I mean, I'm sure that also covers the thing with Moon Knight, too, and him and Dracula having kind of beef with each other.
But in the end, they're able to use Morbius's blood to control the lizard and get rid of Peter's extra arms. It's here that Gwen is at her most supportive of Peter. They're both deeply in love, the gang's all together, everything's going perfectly. Until she fucking dies. It's no spoiler that the Green Goblin kills Gwen Stacy. I'd say that the knowledge of her death makes this story all the more impactful. Just knowing that she's doomed no matter what, and there's nothing you can do about it. Norman Osborn suffers a mental breakdown brought on by his son's troubles with addiction. Suddenly, all of his memories start flooding back, and he instantly resumes his mission to make Peter's life hell. His first stop is at Peter's apartment, where he finds an unsuspecting Gwen Stacy. Peter confronts the Goblin on the Brooklyn Bridge, where he throws Gwen to her death. Now, it's meant to be ambiguous whether or not it was the fall or Peter's webbing that killed her, but Roy Thomas, editor of Marvel Comics at the time, basically came out and said, it was the webbing. Shut up. Gwen's death really captures what...
No!
This was actually such a huge moment in comic books, because this is pretty much the first time a superhero has failed to this degree. Like, it being Spider-Man's fault especially was very much unheard of for comics at this time.
Damn. Makes sense though, like if you're falling from that sort of height at that speed and then you suddenly get like snapped back up. But also if Peter didn't do that, then it would just be kind of the same result of her
I mean,
smacking
it's one
into
of
the
those things where it's
ground.
like it was a no-win for Pete. Yeah, but yeah.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't sort of situation. Feels bad, man. But also, he probably knew
Very
that,
much
and
so.
then it's just like he blames himself. poor and how could he not? But he but he
Right,
really
yeah.
shouldn't. But like, yeah,
Yeah,
Oh, I think
poor Petey, poor
obviously,
Gwen.
yeah. Well, much more poor Gwen. Poor Gwen's father. Like, take care of my daughter. Oh, well. God damn it, Peter. Whoops. Oh no. I'm not exactly a writer, but I recall learning about how you write your hero within your story and the things that you can do with them, and then there being like a specific rule saying that your hero can fail once, and that should be like a defining moment for that hero. Because if they continuously fail over and over again, then you kind of lose the audience's trust in that hero, that they're not like capable to do anything or being able to rise above the whatever situation that they're going to have to face. So I guess this
Sure.
is Peter's failure moment. I don't personally know any other ones. I just know that he suffers a lot, but
I think there's plenty of smaller moments where Pete has issues. I think a rule like that makes a lot of sense for something with a more defined start and end.
yeah, I was gonna say that
But
like a
something that's
really long
constantly
comic run.
ongoing with different
Uh-huh.
iterations, like Spider-Man, it's a little harder.
Yeah.
But this is definitely the big moment for Spider-Man in most cases. It's like this not only just defined the trajectory of him and his comics going forward, but it really did for Marvel and hero comics in general.
So what you're saying is that it's a canon event.
You know what's funny? Following that movie, the misunderstanding of what canon event meant, even in the context of that movie, is so funny to me.
Wait, how did people misunderstand it? I felt like it was pretty clear what it was.
They basically just defined any significant moment as like a canon event, and it's like no,
No.
there were these very, very specific things that were defined as a part of every timeline for the character.
Okay, yeah,
But,
no.
you know, sure, whatever.
These people have
It's
just
like,
never seen
what was
that.
his canon event? It's the same as every other one's canon event. The captain dies, the uncle dies.
Look, the people who misunderstand it have never seen a time travel show. If they did, they'd be blown out of their minds of what was going on.
The joke was too meta, went over too many heads.
It's sudden, it's unfair. The actual event is over quickly, but its effects, the consequences it has on the people around it, stay around for years. The Green Goblin is impaled by his own glider, and Peter is left with no one to blame but himself. In the wake of her friend's death, Mary Jane unravels her mischievous, carefree persona, becoming far more serious and emotionally transparent. She and Peter support each other through this time, and ultimately grow closer to one another. Meanwhile, Harry's figuring out that, maybe, Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Harry discovers his father's evil lair and tries to avenge him as the new Green Goblin, blowing up their apartment to try and kill Peter. Peter responds by punching him in the face and leaving him for the authorities. Harry is diagnosed as a complete lunatic and is sent to an asylum. Now, months after Gwen's death, Peter
I
and MJ...
diagnose you complete lunatic.
Very scientific, yes. God damn it, Harry. And with the way that Harry is kind of presented, at least from my impression of him through the movies, he seems like a pretty decent dude until he wasn't, and shit happened.
Yeah.
To blame
A
Spider-Man
lot of it
for
is a
all
built up
that.
of just mental instability and trauma, and that'll do it to you.
I guess so. The Joker and his whole line of like, oh, all it takes is one bad day, maybe rings true here.
Yeah.
enter the dating stage and share their first kiss. Finally, something positive in Peter's life, with him and MJ's relationship pulling him
Let's
out
see how
of
it
his
gets
depression.
ruined.
He can't stop thinking of her, and this is exactly what he needs to... Gwen is back.
What? No, Gwen, go back to being dead. Your death kind of defined me as a person. You can't come back. No. What the fuck? Is this some like timey-wimey stuff? Are we being tricked by a villain? Is this a hallucination? What is
Peter
happening?
convinces himself that he's not gone insane. He's now got to deal with the fact that his dead girlfriend is back, and has no idea about his new, very much alive girlfriend, which is just as awkward as it is heartbreaking. After
Can
some
you guess what this is leading into?
It's leading into Mary Jane becoming Venom.
Ah, no! Too soon! No! God damn it. 616 Riders, I curse you.
Well,
Yes, we gotta
we'll see.
continue.
See, I don't know enough. I didn't know that Gwen came back to life. I always thought that she just died. That was it.
quick investigating, they find that Gwen's body is still in her grave. So this new Gwen, while being genetically identical, is something else entirely. This
Multiverse.
storyline marks a beginning of a certain trend in Spider-Man
Oh,
comics.
this is way early.
Starting the series.
There's no multiverse yet in the comics.
So what's happening with Gwen is the Psylocke situation. The same thing.
No.
But okay.
And she's inexplicably Asian.
How did this happen? Oh no! My hot girlfriend became a hot Asian girlfriend. How could this happen? If I was Gwen, I don't know how I'd feel.
If you were any of them, how would you feel?
I don't know. But like as Gwen, right? Oh, my
Yeah.
boyfriend's now dating one of my best friends because he thought I died. What?
Oh, wait, my body's still there?
Wait, what?
He's down a path that would result in a very confusing, controversial mess. Clones. You see, this new Gwen Stacy...
No, the Clone Wars, it begins! We've had many discussions about this whenever we were playing anything sci-fi related to this, especially near Automata. If it's close to the real thing, does it count as the real thing? If it feels the same emotions, if it experiences life as the other one would, then wouldn't it just be real?
Back to our Soma playthrough.
Oh no, I was trying not to think of that. Damn it. Soma's such a good
Love
game,
Soma.
though. If you guys haven't played Soma,
Yes.
play it, please. October's
Please.
coming around. Give it a shot.
Yeah,
is
it's okay.
actually a genetic experiment created by one of Spider-Man's most
This
infamous enemies, the Jackal. Spider-Man's villains have
Ooh.
always had these tragic backstories. Dr. Octopus was a scientist
We
whose
haven't seen
experiment
Jackal
messed
in
with his
anything
head.
live action.
Don't think I've ever heard his name before now, either. Don't think he was even mentioned in the cosmology.
The
Oh, he
lizard
wouldn't
was
be.
just a family
Cosmology,
man
that's
trying
a
to
bit
grow his
big.
arm back, and the
Yeah.
Jackal is a nonce. A professor at Empire State University, the Jackal
Oh.
fell in love with one of his students, and
What? Oh, God. Oh, no. Oh, God. Oh, jeez. Oh, man.
became very jealous of her boyfriend at the time. After her death, he was so heartbroken and used his scientific skills to clone
What
her
the
back
fuck?
from the dead. He then dressed up in a Grinch costume and psychologically tortured Spider-Man with the clone of his dead girlfriend. And if that wasn't enough, and this next bit's actually a pretty genius plan, he creates a clone of Spider-Man.
Oh, the pointing Spider-Man meme! It has to be!
With all of his memories and personality, so that from the clone's perspective, he is Spider-Man. He then kidnaps the real Spider-Man and switches them about so they have no idea who the clone is. Jackal blows himself up. He's a bitch, who cares? But what matters is that one of the Spider-Men dies with him. So while it's back to normal, there's only
I
one
think in
Peter Parker.
comics, it was pretty ambiguous too. Who was who?
Who was who? Well, they're wearing the exact same suit, and you don't know which one
A
is
lot
where.
of times in media, right? You are presented with like, yep, this is the real one and this is the fake one, and they don't know, but you know, right?
Yeah. Here we have no idea whether the one that survived was like the clone or the fake one, but like, does that make any difference if they were the exact same?
He's not actually sure if he's the real Peter, which sends him into an existential crisis, realizing that she's not
What do you
actually
mean
Gwen
valid?
Yeah, honestly.
Stacy. The clone of Gwen leaves New York to become her own person. I'm sure these clones will never be a problem in the future.
Yeah,
Meanwhile,
no.
Jameson goes to create yet another Spider Slayer. However, this time, Spencer Smythe is like, fuck your Spider Slayers, and tries to kill Jameson, only to end up
Damn.
dying himself. Aunt May almost marries Dr. Octopus. I can't remember why, and
What? What the fuck am I looking at? What is that shit?
I don't care. Also,
I don't
Kurt
remember
Connors
this either.
God, is that a dinosaur?
Has beef with this guy called
It sure is.
Stegron, who's basically the lizard, but he turned himself into a dinosaur. Kurt's son
Yeah!
Billy is kidnapped, and the lizard goes toe-to-toe with Stegron,
Zero.
who's now
Became a
got an
villain.
army of
Yes, I would 100% want to become a dinosaur villain. That would be the only way I would accept myself becoming one. Look at him, he even has like a gun ray thing. He's gonna reanimate the dinosaurs! These noble skeletons! What? And then Stegron will rule over all that lives!
dinosaurs, and Spider-Man's caught in the middle of it. Stegron falls into a river and dies, and Kurt is
No!
reunited with his family. From this point on, Kurt became Spider-Man's solution to everything. Hey, someone put a bomb on us. Help. The Moonstones. Something to do with the moon? While the whole clone situation puts some strain on Peter and MJ's relationship, they eventually heal things and Peter ends up proposing to her, to which she says no. She friend-zones him and moves to Florida. This just so happens to
Yikes.
take place in the...
Big wheel!
Wait, I think
I want Big Wheel and Rivals. Give them to me.
I've seen some videos talking about, that being like a pretty funny idea that could happen. But what is
Oh God,
MJ's
that'd be fun.
whole thing? I guess it's just because, the clone situation, Peter being a little bit unstable after that, and then she's like, yeah, I'm out. Damn.
The funny thing with Pete and his relationships is he's, from the writer's side, kind of really never allowed to settle down. Yeah, they do my poor boy dirty.
But
It's so sad.
Peter's so cute as a father. Like,
I know, he is.
Same issue as the big wheel. Sure, the majority of Peter's college friends are either dead, clinically insane, or in a different state, but at least it's time for him to graduate. Except
Sounds like
he's actually
university.
denied graduation because he missed one gym class by accident. Peter's
oh,
Is this an old thing? Did you need gym to go to college?
that I don't know. I know that to graduate with my sports science degree, I needed to have 14 different sports within my credits. But it's pretty easy to do.
I mean,
it's not like missing one
makes
particular
sense for
class
A
would make
sports
you.
degree.
Yeah.
I didn't do any sports in my bachelor's.
Yeah.
Bachelor of Science, but what is Pete getting, right?
I don't know. But I'm very excited to learn more about this saga.
starts dating the Black Cat, which is great because now he doesn't have to hide his identity or worry about her getting hurt. Harry gets amnesia and is cured of his insanity, so it's like the whole thing never happened. Spider-Man's sent to
Okay.
fucking space and fights one of the most powerful beings in the multiverse. Bit of a step up, but during his cosmic adventure, he gains a cool new black costume, which can transform into whatever he
Oh.
wants with a single thought, making outfit changes so much easier. Upon realizing that Black Cat
Well.
only cares about the spider and not the man, their relationship falls through, just in time for Mary.
Damn. What? Why did you come back? Why does Black Cat only care about the spider? Peter's a nice guy. Damn it. This actually kind of reminds me of Chainsaw Man a little bit, where you can very clearly tell that Makima's really only into the Chainsaw Devil, and not Denji. Denji is very much a means to an end.
Poor Denji.
Yeah. Wait, what is this? Oh my gosh, I have forgotten all about her? What?
Mary Jane returning home from Florida. There was probably another Spider Slayer in there, built by Smite's
Probably.
son. Once you read like 800 issues in a week, they all start to blend together. It's here we reach a crucial point in Peter and MJ's relationship, in which MJ has had enough of hiding the truth and reveals that she's known Peter's secret all along.
Wait. They never talked about this until now? Even though she knew, like, even before her and Peter were ever dating? I guess everybody's keeping secrets.
The constant knowledge of Peter risking his life has gotten too much for her, which is why
So
she
that's the
turned Peter
reason.
down and left New
Yeah.
York. Realizing that things are only going to get better if they're honest with each other, the two promise to be there.
Well, thanks. Great. Good to realize. I think everybody in any kind of relationship should realize this. I know it's hard sometimes, but like, talk.
Communication.
Hmm.
for each other and figure out how their relationship is going to work. Peter gets a little bit freaked out when his new costume starts swinging him around New York while he's asleep, and so he goes to the Fantastic Four to get it checked out. Upon learning that it's actually alive, Peter has them remove it and put it in a tube. It's not that easy though, as the suit soon escapes and forces itself back onto Peter. Struggling to get it off, Peter discovers its main weakness, as the sound of a church bell traumatizes the symbiote, seemingly killing it.
And then this is where it falls down onto Eddie Brock, right? Wait, it's just hanging out down here somehow?
It is funny, the Venom symbiote, it very much has its little first love crush on Pete, because even later, like with Eddie, or even in the future what they do with him, it's like there's always this harken back to Pete that it always kind of has that affinity for.
Hey, how could you blame him? It's Peter Parker. He's a nice guy. And wait, Black Cat sewed you a costume? Damn. Well,
in the Spider-Man game, if you had done all the Black Cat side missions, she gives you the black costume. That's her sewn version of it.
oh. Yeah, I wasn't about to do that, but that's cool.
No. Yeah. It's a fun little Easter egg.
Yep.
Still wear a cloth version of the black suit, because Black Cat thought it was hot. Did someone say Spider Slayer? With Smythe dead, Jameson hires Dr. Marla Madison to build another one, but the two actually fall in love and eventually get married. As his wedding gifts.
JJJ getting it on? I can respect it, hell yeah. And man, this guy really has a flat head, doesn't he?
Spider-Man makes out with him. What the...
What?
Eventually get married. As a wedding gift, Spider-Man makes out with her.
And I can't kiss the bride. I figured I'd do the next best thing, Gurk. This has to be some sort of trick. Some sort of ploy.
Bold choices.
What the fuck, Spider-Man? Blaming Jameson for what happened to him, the Scorpion kidnaps Marla in an attempt at revenge, but his plan is short-lived and he's stopped by Spider-Man. Spider-Man also fights alongside the mercenary Silver Sable, taking down such...
Oh! I remember you from the Insomniac games. You were really hot.
evil villains as the Black Fox, the Jack-O-Lantern, and the US government. As Peter and MJ grow closer and closer, Peter realizes that this is the person who he wants to spend the rest of his life with. And after a massive kick in the balls of a cliffhanger, we get to the next issue, where MJ says, yes!
No!
Okay, she initially turns him down, yet again, but we soon learn that she's just afraid of marriage because of how her parents turned out. Everyone in her family ran out on her.
Okay, that I can kind of understand. It is somewhat of a fear of mine as well. Oh, considering my own family situation. Plus all the family situations that I've seen of everybody around us where it just doesn't work out. But there are couples that work out. And there seems to be a common trend of actually talking to each other. So I don't know.
The same.
It's hard though. Like, I'm not Mary Jane, obviously, and I can't really like appreciate everything that she's going through from her perspective. Like, I'm not dating a superhero personally. But yeah, love is scary. That I can relate to.
And try to escape their responsibilities. So it's almost in her nature to run away from big decisions like this. But after learning that it's not a bad thing to commit to someone you love, MJ accepts
Lady,
Peter's
we're
proposal.
good for each other.
And so it's time for Spider-Man to get married. Wedding guests include Aunt May, Flash, Harry, Jameson, Marla, Robbie Robertson of the Daily Bugle, MJ's Aunt Anna, and Betty. No, Ned. Ned died. Peter and MJ move into an apartment together as newlywed husband and wife. This is something I love about the Spider-Man comics from, well, before 2007. For the most part, they let Peter grow, not just physically from a teenager to an adult, but as a person as well. Sure, he still has his flaws, as any character should, but you can see him become more mature, you can see how he's learned and improved from his years of being a superhero. Spider-Man's always been about relatability, and sure, him having his life out of order or being really unlucky is part of it. But it's his growth that's the most relatable aspect for me. Like all of us, Peter gets anxious and uncertain about each new chapter of his life, but he still accepts the change and embraces it. Whether it's going to college, having to find a whole new group of friends, graduation, choosing the person you're going to spend the rest of your life with, married life, parenthood, accepting and moving on from the death of a loved one, if there's one thing I hope this video illustrates, it's that change is key to Spider-Man. Shortly after their honeymoon, Peter and MJ are tormented by Kraven the Hunter, who, after a lifetime of being defeated and humiliated by Spider-Man, hatches a plan to kill him and redeem his honour as a hunter. In the past, Kraven would use spears, darts, all sorts of traditional hunting equipment. But what have they done for him lately? So Kraven abandons his usual set of tools in favour of a gun, which...
I was gonna say. It was a perfect lead up to that. It's like, oh, these primitive tools aren't working. Time for gun. Well, what Alex was saying about Spider-Man is very true. And we've been talking about it very much, a lot throughout this entire video. Probably a little too much about how relatable he is and the events that he goes through and how we get appreciated to a certain extent, his struggles. And I'm sure that's very much a big reason why he became so popular and so beloved among culture, I guess. Just people in general.
Oh, I mean, you always love the underdog, right? Seeing the little guy try his hardest to overcome all the odds and having it be so relatable just really kind of puts that, I guess, bow on top of it all.
Oh, yeah. That's an interesting phenomenon, though, in a way. Like, why do we always love rooting for the underdog? Like, doesn't necessarily have to be about, like, media. Like, people love rooting for the underdogs whenever it comes to sports or anything like that. I guess it's just more exciting.
Just in general.
Someone who's on the back foot, kind of take it all.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know.
To just straight up fucking murder Spider-Man. Kraven buries Spider-Man's body himself, puts on a Spider-Man costume, and stands over his grave in what is possibly one of the most coldest villain moments of all time.
Yo, what Kraven? Kraven's built different. Jesus.
Kraven, yeah.
Puts him in the coffin, buries him himself, wears his suit in a moment of silence, and then laughs his head off. What the... gotta put some respect on this man's name.
But he doesn't just stop there. He then goes
Kraven's
around...
not my favorite villain, but he's definitely got some good moments.
And then he just goes out and becomes the Spider-Man? Are you shitting me? What?
Doing Spider-Man's job for him, going so far as to kill people, thus ruining Spider-Man's reputation. The only person he doesn't fool is Mary Jane, who instantly sees through Kraven's disguise. After a series of visual metaphors which definitely scarred any kids reading it at the time.
What the fuck is happening? Bro's being rebirthed again? From what even is that thing? Ugh.
Peter uses his indomitable will and love for MJ to dig the way out of his own grave.
What? Huh? Peter was like, death came to get Peter, and Peter was like, no. Giga chat face, no. Comes back to life.
He goes to confront Kraven, but Kraven refuses to fight back. Sure, Spider-Man may still be alive, but it doesn't matter. He proved himself superior and made his point, that he was worthy of the title Kraven the Hunter, and his honour was restored. He leaves a confession for the police, clearing Spider-Man's name, and with that, Kraven shoots himself in the head. Both this story and...
What the fuck, Kraven? What the fuck?
Did the movie cover this?
Yeah. I'm better than you. That's literally all that I ever wanted to do. So, peace.
I'm out.
I'm out. Yeah, bro quit when he was ahead.
Bad takeaway. Don't listen to this.
The Death of Jean DeWolf arc marked a darker time for Spider-Man. With brutal deaths and disturbing imagery, Spider-Man comics were at their most mature. But they weren't just dark and edgy for the sake of it. They were grounded in character and the themes of morality, revenge, flaws in the system, all of which produced some of the most memorable Spider-Man stories to date. Shortly after, we reach Amazing Spider-Man issue 300, featuring the first appearance of Venom. Already traumatized by her run-in with Kraven, MJ comes home to find this.
Oh my god.
No matter the amount of life-threatening situations she's been in, MJ has always remained strong in the face of danger, so Peter is determined to find out what could have possibly made her feel so helpless. Upon confronting this strange new creature, we get a look at his tragic backstory.
Why is he
Eddie Brock
smiling
was just
like
a
that?
simple reporter for the Daily Globe, one of the Daily Bugle's competitors. After Spider-Man exposed his fraudulent journalism, Eddie's career was made into a laughingstock, and with his life completely ruined, he had no other option but just to off himself. Raised as a Catholic, however, Eddie believed suicide to be a mortal sin, and so before he took his own life, he went to a church to pray for
That's
forgiveness.
why,
The same
okay.
church in which Spider-Man was fighting the symbiote. It latched onto Eddie, feeding off his humiliation and desire for revenge, transforming him into Venom. And in another contender for the coldest villain moments of all time, Venom webs Spider-Man to that same church bell, so that when midnight strikes and the bell starts to ring, Spider-Man will be squished into tiny pieces, thus exorcising him. Spider-Man breaks free through the power of bullshit and defeats Venom by throwing him
The
into
power
the
of
ground.
bullshit.
He takes Eddie to the Fantastic Four, who put him in a tube and ship him off to some gulag. With MJ still traumatized by
Okay.
Venom, Peter ditches his black costume in favour of his classic red and blue. Meanwhile, Aunt May works
Yeah. Probably don't want to go around wearing the costume that's going to remind your girlfriend of the one traumatic moment of her opening the door to her house. And then Venom just grinning. Hey there, little lady. Like, I'd be spooked too. I don't blame her.
worries that she's been getting in the way of her nephew's marriage and distances herself from everyone. MJ reassures her that they do still need her and still want her as part of their lives, bringing them closer than ever. May also finds a new partner by the name of Nathan. He's a bit of a knob, but the two have some decent chemistry and he's vital for May to move on from her dead husband, and he's dead. Also, Black Cat
Okay.
finds out that Peter's now married to MJ and starts dating Flash just to mess with him.
Oh. My goddamn Black Hat and Casual kind of oh my god.
Easy.
Oh god. Also,
You
isn't
know what's
that
kind of funny?
yeah?
I use Spider-Man as one of my examples as why romance doesn't equal shoujo.
Oh no, very much so. Yeah, I see it. Yeah. Why do people think that romance equals shoujo? There's plenty of like romance shows that aren't that.
I don't know.
Huh.
There's a lot of shonen that are romances.
Yeah. Like, there's female leads in shonen that are the love interest. Like, come on. What? But isn't the art that Black Cat has on her tagged out there? Isn't that a classic cartoon character?
It is Betty
It looks
Boop.
familiar. Yeah, Betty. I was gonna say, just a reference or a popular character at the time. I don't know.
Fucking 90s. A lot of people really don't like this era because of all the clones and, Marvel and DC were just trying to outdo each other in terms of who could make the most weirdest, most edgiest shit imaginable. Like Kane, a rejected clone of Spider-Man who uses his spider powers to stick his hand to people's faces and rip them off. You also have
Bruh.
Cletus Cassidy, a serial killer who shares
Oh,
a cell
this
with
guy,
Eddie Brock.
Carnage,
When the
right?
Venom symbiote has a baby,
Mhm.
it latches onto Cletus and he becomes the superpowered mass murderer known as Carnage. After Harry had got his amnesia, things were working out for him. He married Liz from Peter's high school. The two had a son called Normie. He's having a gay old time.
What is his
You
son's name?
Kid
Is Normie?
Fucking Normie.
I don't. It probably wasn't really a term back then, so I could kind of
No.
understand it, but it's unfortunate naming. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is until the X-Men do some bullshit that messes with everyone's heads, and now all of Harry's goblin memories are restored. And of course you'd expect him to go goblin mode on everyone and Spider-Man would have to stop him. But no. It's actually a pleasant surprise when Harry doesn't instantly turn evil and instead goes round trying to be a superhero. Unfortunately, it doesn't last long as Harry is repeatedly haunted by visions of his dead father and eventually the Green Goblin persona takes over, once again determined to
God damn it, man. I feel so bad
tried.
for him. I know. And he could be a superhero. He literally has all the powers that are necessary to do so. He just needs to not be haunted by these ghosts. Damn them.
It's interesting in the 6160 new Ultimate comics.
Mm-hmm.
So Pete, as an adult, gets his spider powers, right?
Yeah.
And Harry ends up getting basically gets his hands on a high-tech suit and takes up what is effectively the Green Goblin persona. But he's fighting with Pete to try and, as a hero, to go through all the stuff that they're going through in that universe. But it's like, just knowing the character and knowing what always happens to
What
this
always-
character,
yeah.
like, this can't end well, right?
How it's probably gonna turn
And where I left
around.
off reading, it's like, the two of them had been captured by Craven and shit.
Oh no.
I need to catch back up on it because those comics are so good.
Probably gonna be some sort of thing that happens to trigger Harry to go into Green Goblin mode again, and yeah. A tale as old
Well, it
as
wouldn't be
time.
again. It would be for the first time in that one.
Oh well.
But
Yeah. Again in history, let's say. But isn't that like such a weird pairing? Like, let's remove all the information that we have in regards to Marvel and comics and superheroes. In what world does a spider and a goblin become a pair? Like, how does that rivalry and team work, right? Like, I don't think these two entities really have anything in common with each other, but it just worked out that way. Funny enough.
Yeah.
Avenge his father, the Goblin confronts Peter and tries to blow him up. During the fight, Harry's real personality starts to fight the Goblin, and he keeps switching between the two personas. Peter tries to get Harry to fight it, but it's no use.
Persona?
After a fierce battle, Peter
Persona.
surrenders himself to the Goblin, saying that the only way this ends is if one of them dies. Even though he has every advantage, the Goblin can't bring himself to kill Peter, proving that Harry
I love his father in the background, just shock face. Oh! You what?
No.
You won't kill Peter? No!
still in there and still fighting to do the right thing. The Goblin flees the scene and spends the next 12 issues swimming in goblin juice, making himself
Oh.
stronger, crazier, and diluting what's left of Harry's personality. But while this special juice does enhance him, it's also killing him from the inside. He then starts stalking Peter, following him in the street or
What
at the
the
Daily
fuck?
Bugle, threatening to give up his identity. He even goes so far as to bring Mary Jane to the same place that Gwen died, just as another way of fucking
Oh
with him.
my
Peter takes
God.
the bait and confronts him, still hopeful that his old friend can be redeemed. The Goblin lures Peter to a building rigged with explosives and drugs Peter so that he can barely move. It's clear to him that their rivalry will go on forever, so the Goblin plans for both of them to die in the explosion. That way he'll have avenged his father's death while also ending his own mental suffering. Peter is fucked and can do nothing but lie there and wait to be blown up. However, the day is saved by MJ, who has brought Harry's son with her in an attempt to break through to him. Upon realizing that his son is about to be turned to ash, Harry's personality snaps back. He instantly gets MJ and Normie to safety, realizes he forgot about Peter, and saves him as well.
Well, the realization face. Yeah. But that was kind of a hardcore move from MJ.
Right?
Did she know that there was
Like,
a bomb
understand
there?
the sentiment, like, yeah, but if that didn't work, you just murdered.
You kind of endangered a child. Yes, an innocent child that didn't really have anything to do with this. It was one hell of a bluff for sure. It paid off, thankfully. So
At least it worked, yeah.
yeah.
But the Goblin formula has taken too much of a toll on his body, and Harry collapses. Harry thanks Peter for believing in him, and lets him know that no matter what happened between them, he still considers him his best friend. He holds
Normie,
Peter's
though.
hand and smiles, before succumbing to his injuries and dying. As Peter grieves his friend's death, the issue ends with a picture of Peter and Harry in their college days. A simpler, happier time before any of this happened. Alright, it's time for the Clone Saga. Now this event
Oh, hot tamales, bro. Do we maybe want to save this for next time?
I was gonna say this might be a good cut spot.
Yeah. Oh god. Everything we learned so far has been mind-boggling. I don't even know what's going to happen to Clone Saga if it gets even crazier than this.
Oh boy.
But wait, I'm so scared of Normie growing up to become the next Green Goblin. I feel like that's just a natural progression of things. Even witnessing his father's death, too. Like, oh, poor Normie. Poor everybody. God, why does everybody have to suffer for our entertainment? Damn it. But yeah, dudes,
Just the Spider-Man way.
it's been so fun learning about Spider-Man, and I'm looking forward to learning much more about the guy in the rest of this video, which hopefully part 2 will be up by next week. Same time, same day as per usual, if nothing goes wrong with the recording schedule. So look out for that one. But that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Bye-bye.